I think the energy democracy movement is really about the unfinished business of past movements.
Our goal should be to go hard.
This sort of organizing movement represents an opportunity for all of us to actually to be able to take power.
What we're talking about here is to democratize energy in this conference, and what democratizing energy means. Basically, what we're saying is that this crisis that we're facing changes everything about the way we have to think and the way we have to act.
So how do we change the frame? How do we not work within the frame? Because we'll always be on the periphery of that current dominant frame unless we change the frame completely about what our way of life needs to be and what is well-being and how do we measure it.
When I think about energy democracy, some of the questions that I know that we've been grappling with is thinking about, what purpose is our energy for? Right? Is it just to drive our current way of life, or is our current way of life actually not sustainable, and we actually want to produce energy for different things that collectively are needed by everyone, right? Who is generating the energy? Who owns the energy, and then who benefits from that energy, right? These are actually all very important questions that really get at, I think, the thinking around we need to change our economy. We need to really change the way we think about means of production and how wealth is created and how it's actually collectively owned, right, by everyone involved.
We have to have real democracy, real transparency, real accountability, but we also have to do things to scale. And so what I appeal to people who do fantastic work on the local level, that look at what the International Energy Agency is saying needs to be done to stay within 2 degrees. And we all in this room know that 2 degrees is already not good enough. But if it's 2 degrees, we have to decarbonize the global economy to the level of 7% a year, every year from now until 2050. And we have to completely revolutionize the energy system in particular, but also food, agriculture, transport, retail, you name it. And the International Energy Agency, not a radical organization, said that the only way this can happen is revolutionary changes in global political economy and the methods of production and consumption.
We have to build a moral economy. It's got to be based on sufficiency. It has to be based on justice. It has to be based on community as opposed to personal enrichment and the accumulation of wealth.
And that requires us moving from an energy as commodity to an understanding of energy as commons or services.
I feel like there is a radicalization of local communities happening right now because we see what's happening.
Can we, as Navajo people, export better energy, solar energy, using lands that really can't be used for much else? And can, as Navajo people, the communities on Black Mesa, as Navajo individuals, and as a tribal government actually be owners?
We need to create enterprises, or at least provide pathways to the creation of these enterprises that share prosperity and wealth, meaning that they spread the wealth throughout the community and work to reverse that trend of increasing wealth concentration.
It's not centralized. It's not in any one place. Doesn't have to be dug up or dug into or anything like that. It's the wind and it's the sun and it's stuff that does exist everywhere. It's there. It's just a matter of how we organize ourselves to overcome the barriers that exist, that are political barriers, that are economic barriers, that are legal barriers, that are every barrier in the book for trying to reinforce and continue the current system that we have.
So if the goal of the energy democracy movement is to dismantle the fossil fuel economy, then the only precedent that comes to mind is the movement to dismantle the slave economy, right? The abolitionist movement. I wonder if I have the fortitude and courage that it took to dismantle the slave economy. What I do know is that more than anything, it took time, it took lives, it took persistence, it took faith, it took courage and determination to never give up. And so these are the qualities an energy democracy movement must take.
right? We have to organize, we have to shift the narrative, and we have to build community institutions whereby people are practicing their protagonism so we can, as a brother was saying earlier, so we can learn how to govern with each other. Because we have to transform everything that is happening right now. And when we transform it, we have to be ready to be better stewards.
It's pretty clear that if we're going to build a movement for energy democracy, it has to be part of a broader social movement for social transformation. If we keep our eye on that prize, I'm sure we'll be successful. But thanks again for having me here.